So this video is going to show a new expression function that we added to Adaptable in 12.2, and that's VAR, that you can see it here. And the idea behind VAR is, as the name hopefully implies, it's a variable that developers provide to Adaptable at design time, and they are then available to runtime users who are using Adaptable within the expressions they create as part of their queries, alerts, conditional styles, reports, etc., calculated columns. So how does it work? It's probably easiest to show the code. And as I say, it's a two-step process. So step one is at design time, you provide in Adaptable QL options in the expression options property, a new property called custom query variables. And that's where you will list all the VARs that you want your users to be able to access and leverage as they use Adaptable. And we here have provided two. The first is called cutoff date, and this is the first type of VAR that you can provide, which is a kind of hard-coded value. Essentially, it's just a normal type. It can be a string, a number, a boolean, a date. In this case here, we've made it a date, and that means we can now use that VAR cutoff date within the other expressions we write. And then we've also created one called isPopular, and this is the second type of VAR that you can provide. And this is a function. In this case, it's a Boolean function. And what it does is it takes context, including any arguments you give us. And in this case, you're expected as in the runtime user is expected to provide to VAR two functions. One is a string, one is a number, and in fact the first is really the language. And what we say is if the language is JavaScript, then return true if the number you give it is greater than 30,000. If the language is TypeScript, then return true if it's 40,000. If it's HTML, 15,000. And then you can use both of these VARs, the date and the Boolean function, elsewhere in Adaptable. We reference them here. We've referenced the VAR in the current query, and we reference the diff years in conditional styles, but in fact you can probably see it better here. So here's our current query, and we say isPopular language stargazers count is true, and license equals MIT license, and you can see that returns 9 out of 25. So you can see we've passed in a language and stargazers count into VAR, because VAR itself is now available as a first-class function with full support, full context-sensitive explanations, etc. And then the other thing we did was we created a conditional style with this condition. And again, if you want to look at it in greater detail, we can here. And we've said we want to style those columns where there's a diff of more than one between a created at date and our cutoff date, which we know from here is the 26th, which is why you see these and you don't see others. Okay, as always, thank you for watching, and any questions, do please get in touch.